The Valentines Banner of 2022 is finally here. It's been teased a bit, but we have all the information now, and this is going to be an extremely powerful group of units you may want to keep an eye on. For this year, the theme goes to Awakening, and joining the festivities is Owain, Female Robin, Lucina, and Duo Chrom with Male Robin. As part of the 5th anniversary celebration, the accompanying Tempest Trials features extra rewards, including 5 first summon tickets for this banner. I believe you just need to complete 5 or 6 runs of Tempest, and you'll get your tickets. Our 4-star focus unit is going to be Valentines Owain. You can get them at 4-star and 5-star rarity. Reminder that the summoning pool changes from the Fate channel kick into effect with this banner. More 5-star only units are now in the 4-star special rate group. As for the 4-star special hero special rate group, those changes are only for year 1 and 2 seasonal reruns. You will not be getting random seasonals on this banner. Moving on, as a unit, Valentines Owain is a Lance Cavalier with 41 HP, 38 attack, 42 speed, 31 defense, and 21 res. Extremely good offensive stats. He's only second behind Brave Erica, and Owain has attack and speed super boons, which is both really nice. Very speedy Cavalier, so if you need an initiator, Owain can do the job for you. For old skills, Owain comes with attack and speed bond 3 and Wings of Mercy. Not exactly amazing fodder skills, but he comes with Blue Flame. Why Owain got his own special, I don't know, but Blue Flame is inheritable. It's a 500 SP 3 cooldown special, which does occupy a niche for Arena. It boosts your damage by 10 if you're solo, which is not great, but if Owain is next to an ally, it deals 25 damage instead. It's been 3 to 4 years, but I still have to say it, Blue Flame is not true damage. Now, generally speaking, Blue Flame is not the most amazing special. It's not super difficult to out-damage it these days with Bonfire, Iceberg, or Luna, and it requires adjacency to get your 25 damage. Blue Flame does score better for arena modes though, and it can substitute for those specials. For his inheritable lance, Owain has the Piercing Tribute Plus. He probably came up with the name himself. This 14-might lance works if the foe initiates combat or if they have more than 75% HP, and grants plus 5 attack and speed and neutralizes effects that guarantee the foe's follow-up attacks. Basically, this is a defense of no follow-up. So, Piercing Tribute is a very interesting weapon. It is primarily enemy phase, but can work on the player phase versus healthy foes. The idea behind this weapon is that you use it on a super fast unit. The only way your fast unit gets doubled is if the enemy has a free follow-up skill like Quick Riposte. Defensive no follow-up gets rid of those skills, so your speedy unit should only get hit once ideally. For player phase moves, it can help you survive engagements where you aren't able to get the KO, and for enemy phase, it completely stops slow units from built-in follow-ups. Owain can combo this lance with some fun skills, but I also want to mention Summer Norn and Winter Hilda. Summer Norn is a fast infantry unit, and she could use Piercing Tribute with Dodge B skills. It's not full no follow-up, but it also gives her more speed to utilize. As for Winter Hilda, she's a fast army unit. Hilda actually gets another useful skill from this banner, but Piercing Tribute could be fun with special fighter builds. It's mixed phase, it gives more attack and speed, and protects her from free follow-up attacks. Another fast lancer in recent times is Marcia, the current gen Lance Flyer demote. She could use some of the skills I'm going to talk about for Owain. Now, normally I try to accompany the base kit for our 4-star focus units, but I really do not think attack and speed bond and Wings of Mercy need highlighting. I personally think it feels bad to limit my 3 movement high attack and speed cavalry unit to stay next to the ally at all times. For the same reason, I don't think Blue Flame is that amazing for cavalry Owain. It can work, but I would just run Luna or Ruptured Sky without worrying about positioning. For a basic build, Owain could run the standard double solo and low B skill build. Piercing Tribute gives some more damage output, and you're free to run speed increase in solo skills, low speed and defense, and even something like a Rouse speed and defense C skill. This is fine, but Owain can be stopped by fall prevention. Well, if that's an issue for you, you can run Flow Refresh or Flow Guard. I think Flow Guard is an incredibly powerful B skill, and hopefully Thor decides to share it with newer units this year. It gives player phase initiators 2 key skills in offensive no follow-up and guard. They get to double slower tanks, and they're not going to get obliterated by fast charging special counterattacks. With Piercing Tribute, you could give a Cavalier or Flyer the full no follow-up skill, at least for the player phase. Another B skill to use with Piercing Tribute is Near Trace for Kanto. Similar to the Instant Sworder Lance type weapons, Piercing Tribute technically gives you survivability on the player phase by not getting doubled via Quick Riposte. If you cannot kill the enemy but survive, then Near Trace will let you retreat afterwards. Obviously, it's not the best for killing power, but Kanto utility is so damn strong. To accompany your B skill choice, Owain can rock something like Catch 4 or Surge Sparrow, along with solo skills. Tech and Defense or Speed Menace is great, and Fatal Pulse or any stat smoke debuff are fine. While army units continue to add new meta skills to their kit, Cavaliers still cannot run Flashing Blade. If you want cooldown, Heavy Blade is your only option. For other inheritable lances, Owain could run the Unbound or Flowing Lance for solo builds. If you want more killing power with attack and speed, the Springy Lance from Spring Minerva can be a stronger option. The Ninja Brave Lances are also pretty fun as well. Overall, Valentines Owain is a great Lance Cavalier, but ultimately nothing super insane. His stats are great, but no inheritable Lance will match what units like Brave Erica can put out. I want Owain myself, but he is certainly nowhere near the power level of the other banner units. With that said, let's talk about Valentine's female Robin next. I'll start off by saying that she's basically the success hit sequel to last year's Valentine's Henriette. Robin is a colorless armored mage with 42 HP, 41 attack, 16 speed, 39 defense, and 42 resistance. She has an attack super boon, and like Henriette, Robin is min-max for low speed. She's insanely tanky, and colorless typing means no disadvantages, save Raven Tomes. For old skills, Robin only has Iceberg and Even Fall 3. They're not bad, but you will need to spend some premium fodder compared to Henriette. What makes Robin so special is her weapon, Akemini's Furl. At its core, it grants excited specials and then up to 3 effects based on how many movement types are on your team, not including Robin. Basically, as an army unit, Robin does not count. Out of the 4 movement types, if you have 1 or more, Robin emits a 3-space rain debuff inflicting -5 attack, defense, and res. If you have 2 or more, Robin gains 30% damage reduction for 1 hit for herself. With 3 or more, Robin gives a status that grants 5 HP healing on hit for herself and allies within 3 spaces. This is a very powerful tome, not only because it's solid for Robin, but she can share parts of it with her team. The 3-space rain debuff is nice, and Robin can let allies heal 5 HP every attack they make. Of course, Robin will receive all of these benefits herself. The biggest thing for Valentine's female Robin is meeting the movement type condition. In a 4-man team, all 3 allies must be different movement types because Robin is not going to count as an army unit. In 8 raids or modes with more team slots, this condition is easier to meet, but you can't just run all army units or all infantry plus Robin. Robin does bring a new inheritable skill, and its attack and defense Far Save 3. This is just the attack and defense variants for Bar Save. Save skills were introduced 1 year ago and have changed the game dramatically with still no direct counter. They allow armies to fully spec into enemy phase builds, and that lets them specialize while teammates cover their weaknesses. Even if you don't use Robin, Bar Save is top tier fodder. In terms of builds and playstyles, it's clear Robin wants to do Henriette's job better. Akemini's Furl is Unity Blooms on steroids, plus Robin can share some of its perks with her allies. You just need to meet the movement type condition. This weapon is insanely strong if Robin has a near-safe teammate. When the near-safe ally warps to Robin, her rain debuff and healing are going to help them out guaranteed. If Robin isn't the target, you need to position closer to the action. For how Robin herself, as a far-safe arm unit, all she has to do is sit in the back and fly in when needed. Unlike Henriette, Robin will need to get her A skill and B skill from somewhere else. You're free to run the usual suspects of Slick or Crafty Fighter for follow-up attacks. For A skills, Tier 3 dual stances for guard, Unity to handle debuffs, and Distant Defense 4 to stop enemy field boss. Try not to overlap effects. For example, you don't want to run Unity with Slick Fighter, and you don't want to run Steady Stance 3 with Crafty Fighter. Now, with excited specials, Robin can run Special Fighter and instantly counter back with Iceberg. Very fun stuff, plus you're free to use Quick Repulse if you want. Besides that, just stack your choice of attack, defense, or res for your sacred seals. While Valentine's female Robin is another powerful far-safe armored mage, her support abilities are pretty unique. If you can land the rain debuffs with the healing, it is literally like giving last year's Valentine's tomes to another unit. She would be very fun with a near-safe ally. Speaking of which, in comes our next Valentine's unit, Lucina. She may be a near-safe armor unit, but Lucina has a lot more going on we need to discuss. First off, she's an axe armor unit with 41 HP, 39 attack, 42 speed, 37 defense, and 31 resistance. Unsurprisingly, she has attack and speed super boons and has the highest offensive spread among any armor unit. For old skills, Lucina has attack and defense near save, extremely valuable skill in today's game. She also has Kestrel Stance 3, literally the second unit with this skill, and despite its initial lackluster introduction, Kestrel Stance has become very useful for dodge-based units. By the way, Yanfei is in the Hero Growth shop this month. Last, Lucina is going to come with Future Vision, dear lord. So this is not the remixed version her legendary ult recently got, but it doesn't matter. A swap into a free action is so stupidly good, and while she doesn't have the range to abuse it for the player phase, this Lucina can still utilize it well. This is due to her weapon, the Gerbera Axe. It grants +3 speed, which brings her up to 45 speed total. Similar to her legendary Refine, if a movement assist is used by Lucina or targets her, she grants a status that neutralizes foes' bonuses during combat to herself and her ally. Think of this like a low Link effect. Additionally, if the foe initiates combat or has more than 75% HP, Lucina is gonna gain plus 5 total stats, and she gains 40% damage reduction for one hit. So, generally speaking, Lucina gets more stats and damage reduction for one hit. However, she also nullifies field buffs, and she can pass this on to other teammates. Like a legendary ult, Lucina is free to hand out this low status as many times as she wants. She can swap one ally, then use the free action to swap another ally. Allies can also use their own movement assist skills on Lucina. Next, Lucina introduces a brand new armor B skill because armor units have been lacking in skills, definitely. Savvy Fighter 3 is very interesting, but it's tailored for specific armor units. If the foe initiates combat, neutralize effects that guarantee the foe's follow-up attacks, neutralize effects that prevent your own follow-up attacks, and then if the unit has more speed than the foe's speed, -4, they reduce damage from one hit by 30%. Army units saw infantry units using no follow-up and dodge and decided they wanted in on that action. Savvy Fighter provides both no follow-up 3 and damage reduction via a speed check, but in slightly different ways. First off, this is an enemy phase only skill. No follow-up and dodge work on either phase, but Savvy Fighter users can just abuse near or far save. Savvy Fighter does require a speed check, but it actually gives you a 4 speed leeway. If you have 50 speed and the foe has 52 speed, Savvy Fighter will proc. Now, you do not need to have 10 or more speed for max damage reduction. However, Savvy Fighter only gives you that 30% damage reduction for a single hit. Dodge is going to work against any hit plus AoE specials. So, Savvy Fighter is the new B skill for fast armor units. Damage reduction is really nice, but full no follow-up 3 is really powerful, albeit only for the enemy phase. Another crazy thing is that Savvy Fighter is inheritable by any armor unit. That means ranged armors can also get in on the action. To showcase why this may be important, I want to compare Savvy Fighter with Hardy Fighter. They're just our newest armor fighter skills, and they could be quite rare for a while. First off, as mentioned, Savvy is inheritable by any unit, or any army unit. Hardy Fighter is only melee armors. The reason is that Hardy Fighter requires a defensive special, and ranged units cannot run defensive specials. Savvy Fighter can give fast ranged armors like Winter Ignatz, Winter Jafar, or Duo Marth a damage reduction option plus the full no follow-up effect. As for Hardy Fighter, it also has no follow-up, but only the defensive portion. It does work on both phases though. To proc Savvy Fighter, you're going to need to win a speed check, meaning it's basically locked to fast armors only. Hardy Fighter relies on special charge, and while it gives you an instant cooldown on turn 1, are you able to recharge it afterwards? If you can, you may be able to reduce damage from multiple hits. Savvy Fighter only is going to reduce one hit, but like we discussed with Owain, ideally the enemy's only going to hit you one time anyway. Both of these skills are a bit susceptible to brave attacks though. In terms of playstyle, Hardy Fighter is 100% the pure survivability focused skill. Savvy Fighter is sort of a mix, allowing faster armors to double through fallout prevention, and they're going to get to run a damage special. Last major difference between these skills is that Savvy Fighter and Lucina's Axe are both vulnerable to damage reduction nullification. Meanwhile, defensive specials and Hardy Fighter are not affected. Young Innis, Deadeye, and Lethality all do not care about Savvy Fighter or Gerbera Axe. They will burst right through them. However, they do not work on specials. There has been a recent counter to Hardy Fighter in the form of Elamine's false start. She can outright prevent them from pre-charging, and of course, even our Odd Pulse Tie can also counter this. If you want damage reduction, there are pros and cons to each of these, unless you're a ranged armor, in which case you have to go with Savvy Fighter. Moving on, in terms of builds, unlike Robin, Lucina is pretty much ready to go. She's got Savvy Fighter with her axes stacked for 58% damage reduction for one hit, and she has near save to protect her team. Kestrel Stance is fine for the attack and speed boost, but Guard is a bit useless unless the enemy does fight another round, or maybe they have brave attacks. If you don't need Guard, Lucina could swap to Attack and Speed Unity or Bond 4. In terms of Sacred Seals, Darting Breath can be very fun, cooldown reduction to fire off an Ignis or an Aether. As a reminder, you pretty much want to Future Vision every single turn. Lucina is going to get her low status to neutralize enemy field boss. If you just aren't feeling Savvy Fighter, you could go back to Special Fighter. That's better for mixed phase fun, and it's annoying to phase on fast army units. You could run distant counter skills, but it's probably not the best with near save builds. You could run far save if you want, but Lucina isn't the best since she's going to lose out on stats. If you want to change things up, you could run the DC plus Special Fighter build, and then maybe something like Attack and Speed Menace or Armor March. Daring Fighter is an option too, but good luck getting that one. Maybe it would have been more interesting if she still had her bow with Future Vision. Overall, Valentines Lucina is bringing damage reduction with speed to the near save game. Savvy Fighter is very interesting, but mainly due to near and far save, allowing it to focus on enemy phase only. It does nothing on the player phase, whereas the old Special Fighter fast armors can be a threat on either phase. We mentioned Winter Hilda earlier, potentially having a new lance to try out, but she's actually another potential user of Savvy Fighter. I kid you not, someone on my friends list already put Savvy Fighter on their maxed out Hilda. I'm heavily eyeing Savvy Fighter to slap on my Black Knight, who already has too many skills, but no follow-up would be so dang good to have. Since Lucina also has near save, she is going to be an incredible unit to fodder off as well. We have 2 incredible 5-stars on this banner already, but our last hero is just downright ridiculous. Duo Chrom and Male Robin are straight up looking like a disgusting unit. This Chrom is almost like a red version of his legendary ult. He is a red infantry archer with 40 HP, 44 base attack, 27 speed, 40 defense and 26 res, insanely high base attack, and Chrom has attack and defense super boons. This pair are gonna be a terror. For old skills, Chrom actually has Deadeye and will lower its cooldown with Time's Pulse. He then borrows his legendary ults to change Fate Assist skill. It's a reposition that gives Chrom another action and +6 attack. He does apply isolation to himself, and this may be important for something we'll talk about later. Chrom's weapon is Destiny's Bow, 14 might accelerate specials, and is effective against army units, oh boy. If a movement assist is used by Chrom or targets Chrom during turns 1 through 4, he grants -1 special cooldown to himself and that ally, once per turn only. If Chrom initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, he gains +5 to all stats and makes a free follow-up attack. My god, what a mess of a weapon. Faster specials, armor effectiveness, +5 to all stats, free follow-up attack, and special cooldown every time Chrom or an ally move each other. This is a downright busted weapon, and guess what? Deadeye will be on 2 cooldown, Time's Pulse is going to bring that down to 1, and when Chrom uses to change Fate, he will pre-charge Deadeye. Anything without high defense is a goner, and if you're an army unit trying to far save this man, I wish you the best of luck. I'm not even sure if Ascended Fjorm, Ice Mirror, and Hardy Fighter can stop this guy, because not only does he have color advantage, but Chrom's going to get effective damage too. Chrom himself is busted. Let's talk about his cooldown support ability. So unlike Lucina, Chrom can only proc the -1 cooldown 1 time per turn. He cannot hand out cooldown reduction multiple times. Additionally, this only works for up to the first 4 turns. Gotta act up it quickly, but Chrom is handing out -4 cooldown to all his allies in total. He may pre-charge multiple Deadeyes himself, and if you try to stall a fight, he may just charge up an ally special to full. I would say this ability will make Duo Chrom a really strong pick for a lot of teams. Next up, Chrom and Robin have a dual skill, inflict -5 to all stats on themselves and allies within 2 spaces through their next actions, plus it grants Grand Strategy to those same units. Debuffing yourselves seems like a terrible strategy, but the Grand Strategy status is actually a unity effect. It grants bonus to each stat during combat equal to the current penalty on the stat times 2. -5 to all stats becomes +10 to all stats in combat for a net gain of +5. Why go through all this trouble though? Well, it lets Chrom stack it with regular field buffs on top. Now, Grand Strategy has a new game mechanic in that negative effects that last through unit's next action are going to remain in effect until the status is neutralized. Normally, if Chrom was debuffed, he could remove the debuffs by making an action and ending his turn. This will not be the case with Grand Strategy active, and it's to let Chrom stay debuffed for the enemy phase after his attacks. If he debuffs one away, the unity effect would not work. So in addition to all of this, Duo Chrom himself will receive a status that prevents enemy follow-up attacks. Only Chrom gets that one though. Besides Lucina, this dual skill provides a way to debuff your own units. One obvious benefit is to manually proc unity skills such as Grand Strategy. Assumingly Grand Strategy will stack with other unity effects, meaning Fallen Ike and Legendary Marth can get triple unity effects, plus Chrom's gonna debuff them to proc it. One unity effect is great, but it scales multiple effects greatly. With the -5 to all stats, one unity gets you +5 or a net gain of +5. Double unity is gonna bring that up to +15, and triple unity is +25. Pretty gross. However, you will proc any effects that use debuffs for the enemy, such as Gunther's Blizzard Tome or Hariad's Omnibreaker Sword. Something I am unsure of is how this dual skill works with isolation. Normally Chrom can use to change fate, get isolated, but then when he ends his turn, it's going to clear isolation and he can get danced. With Grand Strategy, I think isolation might not go away when Chrom ends his turn, which is actually bad for him. You won't get to dance him at all because isolation and the debuffs stay active. That's gonna need some testing. If for some reason you don't want to use Chrom, he does have a new inheritable A skill, Close Salvo. Unit can counterattack from any range, and at start of combat if unit has more than 25% HP, grant +5 attack during combat, but after combat inflict -5 recoil damage. So Close Salvo is a close counter skill that grants bonus attack for both phases at the cost of HP. Duo Chrom is a deadly player phase unit, but like his legendary ult, he has close counter to fight melee units. It's a decent trade-off for a nuke like Duo Chrom, but for long-term tanking it's not the best option. Luckily, if you do not like Close Salvo, Chrom's gonna have close counter because it's a prereq skill. You can just use that instead. Close Salvo is pretty fun though, but for tank builds, Close Foil will still probably reign supreme. So, Duo Chrom and Robin are one of the most ridiculous units I've seen. I think they will be very prevalent in the next year. While they are a crazy strong unit themselves, giving cooldown reduction just by moving allies is insane. For Chrom, the gameplay is pretty simple. You use to change fate, that's going to pre-charge Deadeye, and you use the extra action to snipe someone. Because it wasn't broken, you can give this Chrom low attack and defense just like legendary Chrom, and honestly Chrom probably just wants any attack boosting Sacred Seal. He already has free follow-up attacks on both phases, which may not even matter because pre-charge Deadeye and 44 base attack. If you want a budget B skill, Desperation is fun, or you can go for Vantage. A Link B skill also works as well. Now, is there other playstyles for Chrom and Robin? I would say yes. Many people speed stack Legendary Chrom, and Duo Chrom does it better by actually getting bonus speed via his weapon and his dual skill. You could also run no follow-up, but it might be unnecessary with his free follow-up attacks and follow-up prevention from the dual skill. Also, Sparrow is great. Chrom buffs himself to change fate, which means ideal 4 A skills can work too. Because Chrom can charge up for 4 turns, you honestly could drop Time's Pulse. For example, in Summoner Duels or Aether Raids, if you can just reposition 2 turns, then you will still pre-charge Deadeye, and Chrom could run skills like a Tempest for extra movement or a Smoke C skill. He could also just run 2 cooldown specials as well. Now, one reason I value Chrom's cooldown reduction is for AoE specials. He is prime AoE special Spyro spam material with high base attack and accelerated specials, but Chrom can also pre-charge the first AoE by himself. Now imagine you have another AoE user, let's say Yuri. Yuri and Chrom can just move each other, and in a couple turns they both have pre-charged specials ready to go. Dear Lord have mercy. This tactic goes for anyone with a deadly special. Overall, Duo Chrom and Robin scare me a ton, and as someone who had never got Legendary Lucina or Chrom, I've had enough of their movement shenanigans. I plan to spark this Chrom if necessary because I think he's just too good. This banner is honestly insane to me, and it's worth noting that the 3 5-stars can all benefit each other. Female Robin can give everyone in combat debuffs with healing on hit. Lucina can give everyone the low status to neutralize enemy field boss. Then you got Duo Chrom handing out cooldown reduction. These 3 are all pretty awesome units themselves, but they can benefit other allies as well. Very fun stuff, but oh boy, we'll have to see how much they pop up on the opposing side. Not to be left out of the festivities is Valentines Lissa. The Tempestrons is out right now, and Lissa is the reward unit. She's a neat unit, and we'll talk about her more in the next video. If you aren't summoning, then good luck with your tickets. I'll be trying my luck on this banner as well. As a reminder, the A Hero Rises event might be determined before this Valentine's banner is over, I'm not sure. If you want to wait and see who will be on that banner, it might be worth it because that one's going to be pretty spicy regardless of the results. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.